The escape pod raced through space. The Earth grew smaller behind them. Jack stared at the crystal in his hand. It pulsed with purple light in time with his heartbeat. The memories he had seen felt so real, but also like they belonged to someone else. Lyra worked the controls of the pod. Her fingers moved fast over symbols Jack did not recognize. Her white hair glowed softly in the dim light. "Where exactly are we going?" Jack asked. "There is a hidden base on the far side of your moon." Lyra explained. "Some of my people have been watching Earth for centuries. Those who believe humans should be protected. We have gathered there." Jack looked out at the stars. "Who am I really?" he asked. Lyra turned to face him. "You are Jarex," she said, "last prince of the royal House of Neria. You were sent to Earth as a child when the war started. Your parents wanted to keep you safe. Jack or Jarex?" He did not know which name to use, now shook his head. "I remember growing up on Earth. I remember my parents. My school. Everything." "False memories," Lyra said. "They were planted in your mind to protect you, to help you blend in with humans." She touched a control and a map appeared showing their path to the moon. "Your real memories were locked away in your mind. The crystal is the key to unlock them." Jack looked at the crystal again. "I saw things when I touched it to my head," he said. "A planet with 3 moons. A family. People with purple skin like yours. Those are your true memories." Lyra nodded. "Your home. Your family. But I feel human," Jack protested. "I look human." He held up his very human-looking hand. "That was part of the disguise," Lyra explained. "The royal family has special abilities. One is the power to change form. You were changed to look human when you were sent to Earth." She looked at him sadly. "You were very young. You forgot your true self over time." The pod shook suddenly. A red light flashed on the control panel. "They found us," Lyra said. Her voice sounded worried. She touched more controls. The pod moved faster. Jack felt pushed back against his seat. Through the clear walls of the pod he could see something behind them. A ship larger than Lyra's, shaped like a dark blade. It was following them. "Mira's ship," Lyra explained. "She will not give up easily." Jack felt fear, but also something else. A strange calm that seemed to come from deep inside him. He looked at the crystal again. "Will I remember everything?" "If I use this," he asked. "In time," Lyra said. "Some memories will return quickly. Others may take longer. Your powers should return faster, though we will need them powers." Jack repeated the word, still not believing. "What powers do I have?" "The royal bloodline carries many gifts," Lyra said. "The strongest is the ability to connect minds, to share thoughts and feelings. This is why my people fear humans. Your kind has the same potential." "The same seed of power. Is that why your sister wants to destroy Earth?" Jack asked. "Because someday humans might have powers like yours." Lyra nodded. "Mira believes the predictions that humans will one day threaten our kind. She thinks it is better to end your species now before you grow too powerful." Jack looked back at Earth now. Just a small blue dot in the distance. All those people, all those lives, they knew nothing about any of this. They were just living their lives. And some alien race was deciding whether they should live or die. Something stirred inside him. Something protective and fierce. "I won't let her hurt them," he said. His voice sounded different. Stronger. Lyra looked at him. Her black eyes seemed to see something in him that he could not see himself. "The royal blood speaks," she said softly. The pod shook again, harder this time. Jack was thrown against his seat. The crystal almost fell from his hand, but he held on tight. "Are firing on us," Lyra said. She moved her hands quickly over the controls. "I will try to lose them in the moons." Shadow Jack saw the moon growing larger ahead of them. It looked different from this angle than it did from Earth. More real somehow. Darkside was coming into view. The side humans never saw from their planet. The pod dove toward the surface. The ship behind them fired again. A beam of red light passed just over them. "We need to move faster," Jack said, feeling desperate. Lyra looked at him. "There is a way," she said, "but it is dangerous. You could help." "Me how?" "The crystal," Lyra said. "Place it against your heart. The power inside it can flow into you. It might awaken your abilities faster." Jack hesitated. "What if I can't control it?" "You can." Lyra said, "I believe in you, Prince Jerex." She said the name with respect. Jack took a deep breath and placed the crystal against his chest, right over his heart. It felt hot against his skin, then seemed to sink into him. The purple light spread across his body. His veins glowed under his skin. Images rushed through his mind faster than before. A lifetime of memories. His real life on Nerea. Learning to use his powers. His parents. The war that tore their world apart. Being sent away to safety. Jack gasped. As the memories filled him, he remembered now. He remembered who he was. Jerex. He whispered his true name. He felt power flowing through him. Power he had once known how to use. He raised his hand toward the controls of the pod. Energy flowed from his fingers, purple light connecting with the ship. The pod surged forward faster than before. The moon grew rapidly larger. "You remember," Lyra said, smiling. "Not everything," Jerex replied. "But enough." He looked at his hands. The glow was fading, but he could still feel the power inside him. "I can help us reach the base," Lyra nodded. "Guide us," she said. Jerex placed his hands on the controls. He did not know what the symbols meant, but somehow he knew what to do. The pod responded to his thoughts more than his touch. It dove toward the surface of the moon, heading for a large crater. "There," Jerex said, pointing. "Inside that crater." "Is that where the base is?" "Yes." Lyra confirmed. "How did you know?" "I can feel them." Jerex said, "Other minds like yours, like mine. They are waiting for us." The ship behind them fired again. The beam struck the back of the pod. Alarms sounded. The pod began to spin. "We are hit," Lyra shouted. She tried to regain control, but the pod was damaged. Jerex closed his eyes. He reached out with his mind, feeling the pod around them. He imagined it stable, moving forward toward the crater. He felt his power extend beyond his body, wrapping around the ship. The pod stopped spinning. It steadied and continued toward the moon. Smoke trailed behind it. But it was moving forward again. "How did you?" Lyra looked at him with wide eyes. "Your powers are returning quickly." Jerex nodded, feeling strange. It was like his body remembered things. His mind did not yet recall. The pod entered the moon's atmosphere. If the moon could be said to have a thin layer that scientists on Earth did not know existed. The crater grew larger below them. Jerex could see structures inside it, hidden buildings that blended with the moon's surface. The ship behind them was still following, the dark blade shape against the stars. "Will they follow us to the base?" Jerex asked. "They will try," Lyra said, "but the base has defenses." She touched a control and spoke words in a language Jerex did not understand, but somehow knew meant base command. "This is Lyra. We are coming in hot. Activate shields." A voice responded in the same language, acknowledged Lyra. "Shields activating. Prepare for guided entry." A beam of blue light shot up from the center of the crater. It connected with the pod, pulling it down gently. Mira's ship fired again. The red beam struck something invisible above the crater and scattered into sparks. "The shields are holding," Lyra said, "but they will not last long against her main weapons." The pod was pulled down into the crater. As they got closer, Jerex could see the base clearly now. Buildings made of the same material as Lyra's ship, but colored to match the moon's surface. There were other ships too, smaller ones like Lyra's. The pod landed with a soft thud on a platform. The door opened and cold air rushed in. Jerex felt it on his face. It was thin air, not enough for humans to breathe, but he found he could breathe it easily. Another sign he was not human after all. Lyra stood up. "Come," she said. "We must hurry. They will breach the shields." Soon Jerex followed her out of the pod. Several figures were waiting for them. They looked like Lyra with purple skin and white hair. Their eyes were black like hers, not red like her sister's. They wore silver and blue clothes. Lyra spoke to them quickly in their language. Jarex was surprised to find he could understand some of the words now. Danger, sister, attack, help. Prince. One of the figures stepped forward and bowed to Jarex. Prince Jarex. The figure said in perfect English, "We have waited long for your return." Jarex did not know how to respond. He still felt like Jack in many ways, the human he had been for so long, but the memories and power inside him told him this was real. The ground shook. A loud sound filled the air. Jarex looked up and saw the shield above the crater flickering. Blue energy fighting against red beams from above. They are breaking through. One of the aliens said, "We must get the prince to the chamber." Another said. Lyra took Jarek's arm. "This way," she said, leading him toward the largest building. "What chamber?" Jarex asked as they hurried across the platform. "The awakening chamber," Lyra explained, "where your full memories and powers can be restored. We need you at full strength if we are to stop Mira." Jarex followed, feeling torn between two lives, the human Jack who had lived a normal life on Earth, and Prince Jarex, heir to a throne on a distant world, with powers beyond human understanding. Who was he really? And could he really help stop a war that threatened Earth? They entered the building. The walls glowed with the same blue light as Lyra's ship. In the center of a large room was a platform surrounded by crystals, larger versions of the one that had merged with Jarex, the memory throne. Lyra said, "This will restore what was taken from you." Jarex looked at it, feeling afraid. "What if I lose myself?" he asked. "What if I forget Jack completely?" Jarex sat on the memory throne. The large crystals around him began to glow brighter. Their light pulsed in rhythm like a heartbeat. The same rhythm as the small crystal that had merged with his chest. He could feel it inside him, still warm and alive. Lyra and the others stepped back, forming a circle around the throne. They began to speak in their language, soft musical sounds that seemed to make the crystals glow brighter. "What do I do?" Jarex asked, feeling nervous. "Open your mind," Lyra said. "Let the memories come." Another explosion rocked the base. The lights flickered. Dust fell from the ceiling. "Hurry," one of the aliens said. "They have breached the outer defenses." Jarex closed his eyes. He tried to clear his mind to open it, as Lyra had said. It was hard. His human thoughts kept racing with fear and doubt. Then he felt something. A gentle touch on his mind. It felt like Lyra somehow. He knew it was her, though he could not explain how. "Let go," her voice said in his head. "Trust." Jarex took a deep breath and let go. Light filled his mind, not just purple now, but all colors swirling together. Images rushed through his consciousness faster than before, but clearer. He saw his childhood on Neria, the palace where he grew up with high spires and floating gardens. His parents, the king and queen, their kind faces and gentle hands teaching him to use his powers. His first successful mind link. His training in the royal arts. Moving objects with thought. Healing with touch. Seeing distant places without traveling. There he saw the war beginning. The enemy attacking from the stars, ships burning in the sky. The palace in flames. His parents sending him away. Their tears as they placed him in the ship. Their last words. "We will find you when it is safe." He saw his arrival on Earth. The humans who found him and took him in, not knowing what he was. The memory block placed on his mind to keep him safe. The life he lived as Jack, growing up thinking he was human, and he saw more. The war on Neria ending. The enemy defeated, but at terrible cost, his parents dead. Most of the royal family gone. The planet damaged. Lyra, searching for him year after year, finally finding him through dream links, watching over him, planning for the day when he would be needed again. Jarex gasped as the memories settled in his mind. The light from the crystals began to fade. He opened his eyes and the world looked different. He could see energy now flowing through everything. Through the walls, the floor, the air, through the people around him. He looked at his hands. They were glowing with purple light. His skin was changing, becoming slightly purple. The change stopped before it was complete, leaving him looking mostly human but with a faint purple tint to his skin. "I remember," Jarek said. His voice sounded different, deeper, more commanding. "I remember everything." Lyra stepped forward, her face showing relief. "Prince Jarek," she said with a bow. Jarek stood up from the throne. He felt different, taller, stronger. His mind felt clearer and he could sense the others in the room, their thoughts, their feelings. "No need to bow, Lyra," he said. "You have been my protector and friend. I should bow to you." Another explosion much closer. The walls shook harder. Several of the smaller crystals fell and shattered. "They are inside the base," one of the aliens shouted. Jarek's turned toward the door. "I can feel them," he said. "Mira and her warriors. They are angry, afraid. They truly believe they are doing the right thing. Can you stop them?" Lyra asked. Jarek's nodded. "I will try," he said. "But not with violence. That is not the royal way." He walked toward the door, the others following behind him. They moved through the corridors of the base, Jarek's in the lead. He could sense the invaders ahead of them moving closer. Their minds burned with purpose and fear. They reached a large hall with a high ceiling. The main entrance to the base. The doors had been blown open. Cold space air rushed in. Jarek saw figures entering through the broken doors. Their skin, dark purple, their eyes red, their armor black and red. They carried weapons that glowed with red energy. At their head walked a woman who looked much like Lyra, but taller, her face harder. Her eyes glowed bright red, her armor more elaborate. She carried no weapon, but her hands glowed with red energy. "Mira," Lyra whispered. Jarek stepped forward into the center of the hall. The invaders stopped when they saw him. Mira stared at him, her red eyes widening. "The lost prince," she said, her voice cold. "So you have returned." She looked at Lyra. "You have doomed us all, sister, by bringing him back." "I have saved us," Lyra replied. Mira laughed, a harsh sound. "The humans will destroy us all," she said. "The predictions are clear. Once they gain their powers, they will spread through the stars. They will take everything." Jarex raised his hand. The glow around it brightened. "The predictions show only possibilities, Mira," he said, "not certainties. I have lived among humans. I know them. They are not perfect. They make mistakes. They can be cruel. But they can also be kind and loving and brave. They deserve a chance." Mira raised her own hand, red energy gathering around it. "You are contaminated by them," she snarled. "You have forgotten your duty to your own kind." "I have not forgotten," Jarex said calmly. "I remember everything now. My duty is to protect all life, to find balance, to build peace. That is the royal way. That has always been our way before fear took hold of our people." Mira shook her head. "They will destroy themselves and then they will destroy us," she insisted. "You have seen their history, their wars, their hatred, their division." "I have," Jarex agreed, "and I have seen their courage, their love, their hope, their ability to grow and learn." He took a step forward. "That is what you fear, isn't it? Not that they will destroy us, but that they might surpass us, that they might achieve in centuries what took us millennia." Mira did not respond, but her energy flared brighter. "They are dangerous," she said finally. "All life that thinks is dangerous," Jarex replied. "But that does not mean it should be destroyed." He took another step forward and held out his hand to her. "I can show you." He said, "I can share my memories of Earth with you. Let me show you what I have seen, what I have learned." Mira hesitated. Then her face hardened. "No," she said, "you are lost to us." She raised both hands now, the red energy forming into a ball between them. "I will end this now." Jarex did not move. He stood calmly as the energy grew. He raised his own hands, purple, light flowing between them. He did not form it into a weapon. Instead, he opened his mind, reached out to Mira. He felt her anger, her fear, her certainty that she was right. He did not fight it. Instead, he showed her, humans laughing together, helping each other after disasters, children playing, parents teaching, artists creating, scientists discovering, ordinary people doing small kindnesses day after day. He showed her the beauty of Earth, the forests and oceans, the cities and farms, the music and art, and stories. He showed her the human capacity for change, how they had grown from tribes to nations, how they learned from their mistakes, how they strived to be better. He showed her his own life as Jack, the friends he had made, the love he had known, the ordinary joys of a human life. Mira faltered. The energy between her hands flickered. Her red eyes widened. Jarex pushed deeper into her mind, gently showing her more. Human dreams, human hopes, human potential. Stop, Mira whispered. But she did not attack. Her energy dispersed. She fell to her knees. Jarex walked to her and knelt before her. He placed his hand on her shoulder. "They are not what you think," he said softly. "They are like children. Yes, imperfect learning, making mistakes. But they have such potential, such capacity for growth. Do not fear them. Guide them. Help them." Mira looked up at him, tears in her red eyes. "You truly believe they can change?" she said. "That they will not become the destroyers we have feared?" "I do," Jarex said. "I have seen it. I have lived it. I know their hearts." The other invaders stood frozen, uncertain what to do. Their weapons still raised, but their resolve weakening as they watched their leader kneel. Lyra stepped forward. "Sister," she said to Mira, "the royal blood has spoken. Will you hear?" Mira was silent for a long moment. Then slowly she nodded. "I will listen," she said, her voice softer now. "But I am not convinced. This is too important. The fate of worlds hangs on this decision." Jarex stood and helped Mira to her feet. "I do not ask you to decide now," he said. "Only to wait, to watch, to learn, and to help me protect Earth while its people grow." From what Lyra asked, Jarex turned to her. "There are others out there," he said. "I have seen them in my restored memories. Others who would take Earth for themselves, who would use humans as weapons or slaves or worse. Those are the true enemies we should fear. Not humans, but those who would corrupt them." Mira looked at him. "You would have us protect the very beings we came to destroy?" Jarex nodded. "That is the royal way, to protect all life that thinks, to guide, to teach, not to destroy out of fear." Lyra smiled, pride in her eyes. "You speak like your father," she said. Jarex felt a pang of sadness at the mention of his father. He remembered him clearly, now his wisdom, his kindness, his strength. "I had good teachers," he said, looking at both sisters. Another explosion shook the base, but from outside this time, not inside. Everyone looked up. "A third ship," Lyra said in alarm. "They found us." Jarex closed his eyes, reaching out with his mind, feeling the new presence. He opened his eyes suddenly. "That is not one of ours," he said. "It's not. Narration. They have found us." "Who has found us?" Mira asked, her red eyes narrowing. The Krell. Jarex said. The name felt like poison in his mouth. "The enemies who started the war. Who killed my parents, who nearly destroyed Naria. They have followed us here." Fear showed on every face. Narian and Krell were ancient enemies. The Krell were conquerors who took worlds by force, who enslaved populations, who stripped planets of resources. "They want Earth," Jarex said. "They have always wanted it, its resources, its people." Jarex stood before the cameras, his image being broadcast to every screen on Earth. The human leaders had moved quickly, understanding the urgency of the situation. They had brought him to a secure room beneath the white building with equipment to reach the world. Behind him stood Lyra, her purple skin and white hair causing the human technicians to stare in wonder. The woman in charge, the one they called Madam Secretary, stood nearby, watching carefully. "People of Earth." Jarex began. "My name is Jarex. I am a visitor to your world, though I have lived among you for many years. Some of you may know me as Jack." He paused, knowing how strange his words must sound, but his appearance, his glowing eyes and purple-tinted skin would help convince them this is not a hoax or fiction. What you are seeing is real. Your world is in danger. He gestured upward. The ships you see in your skies are not from my world. They are Krell vessels. They come to conquer, to take your resources, to enslave your people. They have done this to countless worlds across the stars. They are merciless, efficient. They will show no pity. He took a breath, seeing the fear on the faces of the humans in the room with him. But you are not alone in this fight. My people, the Narians, stand with you. We have fought the Krell before. We know their ways, their weaknesses, and I know you humans. I have lived as one of you. I know your courage, your determination, your will to survive. He raised his hand, letting it glow with purple energy. I ask you now to stand together. Not as nations or peoples or races, but as Earth united against a common threat. That is your only hope. Our only hope. Lyra stepped forward beside him. She spoke, her voice musical. This is not your war, she said. But it has come to your world. We are sorry for that. But we will fight beside you. Jerex nodded. I call on all nations to set aside your differences. Your governments are already coordinating your defenses. Follow their instructions. Stay calm. Help each other. We can win this, but only together. The broadcast ended. The room was silent for a moment, then a flurry of activity as the human leaders began issuing orders, contacting their forces, organizing their response. The secretary approached. Jerex. What can we actually do against them? She asked. Our weapons. Jerex looked at her. The Krell technology is advanced but not invincible. He said their ships can be damaged by your missiles, especially if targeted at specific points. I can provide the locations. The smaller craft are more vulnerable, and their ground troops, Lyra added. They will land soon. Their armor is strong, but your heavier weapons can penetrate it. The secretary nodded, relaying this information to military commanders. Outside the building, they could hear sounds of panic in the streets. People fleeing the city as the alien ships descended. We need to get to higher ground. Jerex said, I need to coordinate with Mira. She has weapons on her ship that can damage the Krell vessels. The IAE secretary led them up through the building to its roof. From there they could see the city and the sky beyond. Krell ships hovered over major buildings, their dark shapes blocking the sun. Small craft were landing in open spaces. Jerex could see figures emerging from them, tall, heavily armored forms moving with precision. The Krell, he said, they are making their first landings. Human military vehicles were moving to engage them. Soldiers taking positions, aircraft flying low trying to target the landing. Mira's ship appeared suddenly, breaking through the clouds, its dark hull gleaming, its weapons firing at the Krell vessels. Several of the smaller craft exploded. Jerex raised his hand, concentrating. His mind reached out, connecting with Mira target. The command ship he sent to her. Its sensors are on the lower hull. If you can blind it, the smaller craft will be disorganized. He felt her acknowledgement. Her ship moved higher, firing precise beams at the massive Krell destroyer. The destroyer returned, fire-red energy striking Mira's shields. Human aircraft joined the battle missiles streaking toward the Krell ships. Some were intercepted by energy beams. Others found their targets. Explosions bloomed against the dark hulls. On the ground, human soldiers, engaged with Krell warriors, gunfire and energy weapons creating a cacophony of sound. Lyra touched Jerex's arm. There are too many, she said. We cannot win by force. Alone. Jerex nodded. I know, he said. We need to try something else. He turned to the secretary. I need to get closer to their command ship. The secretary looked skeptical. How, we can't fly you up there? Jerex smiled. There are other ways, he said. He closed his eyes, focusing his energy. His body began to glow, purple light surrounding him. I can project my mind, he explained, to their ship, to their leader. The secretary stared at him. You can do that. Jerex nodded. But I will be vulnerable while I do it. He looked at Lyra. You must protect my body. Lyra nodded. Understanding, I will. She promised. Jerex sat down on the roof, crossing his legs. The purple glow around him intensified. He closed his eyes, his mind reaching out, expanding beyond his body, rising toward the massive ship above. He felt resistance. The Krell had mental defenses, but he was royal. Blood, his powers were stronger. He pushed through the barriers, searching for the mind of the Krell commander. He found it. A cold, calculating intelligence. Ruthless, determined. Jarex touched it gently at first, then more firmly. Who dares, the mind responded. With anger, I am Jarex, Prince of Neria, he projected, and Guardian of Earth. There was surprise, then contempt. The royal line still exists. A pity. We thought we had ended your bloodline. You failed. Jarex sent. And you will fail here too. The Krell mind seemed to laugh. Earth is weak. It will fall like all the others. Jarex pushed harder, sending images. Humans fighting together. Their determination, their courage, their potential. They are stronger than you know. Jarex sent. And they are not alone. We have conquered. Worlds beyond counting, the Krell replied. Your little demonstration means nothing. Jarex gathered his strength. He reached deeper into the Krell mind, past its defenses to its core. He showed the Krell commander something else. Something from the human part of himself. Something the Krell could not understand. Compassion. Sacrifice. Love. The willingness to die for others. The hand extended to help a stranger. The courage to stand against impossible odds, not for glory or power, but for what is right. The Krell mind recoiled, confused by these concepts. This is their strength, Jarex sent. This is what you cannot defeat because you cannot understand it. The Krell commander pushed back with anger, with hatred, emotions. Jarex could feel the disgust. These are weaknesses, not strengths. Jarex pressed harder. No, they are power, the greatest power, and I will show you, with all his strength. Jarex opened himself fully. He channeled the energy of his royal blood, amplified by his human experiences. He reached, not just to the Krell commander, but to all the Krell minds on the ship and beyond, to every Krell warrior on Earth, and he showed them not just human strength, but human beauty. Music, art, kindness, the joy of creation rather than destruction, the peace of cooperation rather than conquest. He showed them Earth in all its wonder, its diverse life, its complex ecosystems, its people in all their variety. The Krell minds struggled against this assault, not of weapons, but of ideas, of feelings, of ways of being they had never considered. Some broke, unable to process what they were experiencing. Others fought back, trying to shut out these alien concepts, but a few stopped, listened, considered. On the roof, Jarex's body glowed brighter than before. Lyra stood over him, protective, her own powers creating a shield around them. Human soldiers had joined her, forming a perimeter, their weapons ready. In the sky, the battle continued. Myra's ship darting between Krell vessels, firing precisely human aircraft, joining the fight. But something was changing. Some of the Krell ships had stopped firing, their movements becoming erratic. The destroyer itself seemed to pause, its weapons powering down. What's happening? The secretary asked, watching the ship's Jarex. Is reaching them, Lyra explained. He is showing them another way. Jarex felt himself weakening. The effort was immense, connecting to so many minds at once, sharing so much emotion, so much understanding. It was draining him rapidly, but he persisted. He had to reach them, to make them understand that there were other paths than conquest, that life could be about more than taking and destroying. The Krell commander was fighting him still, its mind strong, disciplined, but Jarex could feel doubt creeping, in questions forming where once there had been only certainty. Why do they fight so hard? The commander wondered, not realizing Jarex could hear the thought. They have no chance of victory. Why not surrender? Because they fight for each other. Jarex answered, for their home. For their right to choose their own path, they fight for love. The concept was alien to the Krell. Love. A weakness. A distraction. No, Jarex sent. Love is strength. The greatest strength. The force that builds, rather than destroys, that creates. rather than consumes, that unites rather than divides. The commander fell silent, considering Jarex could feel its mind working, processing this new idea. On Earth, the Krell warriors had stopped advancing. Some had lowered their weapons. Looking around, at the world, they had come to conquer, seeing it differently now. Through the eyes Jarex had given them, Jarex's body on the roof began to fade. The purple glow dimming. His face pale, Lyra knelt beside him. "Prince," she said urgently, "you must return. You are using too much energy." Jarex heard her distantly, but he could not stop. Not yet. He had to finish what he had started. Jack opened his eyes and felt strange right away. The bed under him was not his bed. It felt too smooth and a bit warm, like it was alive somehow. The air smelled different too. Clean, but with a hint of something sweet he could not name. He sat up fast, and his head spun. The room around him was not his bedroom. The walls curved in odd ways and seemed to glow with a soft blue light. There were no corners anywhere, just smooth edges. The ceiling was high and had patterns that moved slowly like waves on water. Then he saw her. On the other side of the room stood a woman, but she was not human. Her skin was purple with faint patterns that looked like stars. Her eyes were large and completely black with no white parts. Her hair was white but seemed to glow with its own light. She wore a tight silver outfit that covered most of her body. She was very tall, maybe 7 feet. Jack tried to move away, but his back hit a wall. He felt panic rising in his chest. "Do not be afraid," the woman said. Her voice was beautiful like music. The sound seemed to calm him somehow, even though he was still scared. "Who are you?" Jack asked. "Where am I? My name is Lyra," the purple woman said. "I am a Narration." She moved closer but stopped when she saw Jack press against the wall more. "I brought you to my ship." Jack looked around again. "Are we in the ocean?" Lyra made a sound like gentle laughter. "No," she said. "We are in space." She touched something on the wall, and part of it became clear like a window. Jack gasped. He could see stars, countless stars, and there floating in the blackness was Earth. He recognized the blue and green planet right away. He had seen pictures of it all his life, but never like this, never from so far away. "This is impossible," he whispered. "How did I get here? Why am I here?" Lyra sat down on a chair that seemed to grow out of the floor. "I called to you," she said. "And you answered, called me." How Jack was confused. "I don't remember any call in your dreams," Lyra said. "For many years now I have been sending messages to you while you sleep. You have seen me before in your mind, you just don't remember when you are awake." Jack tried to think back to his dreams. He did have strange dreams often. Dreams of stars and voices and someone calling him, but that was normal, wasn't it? Everyone had weird dreams. "Why me?" he asked. "What do you want? You are special, Jack," Lyra said. "You are not what you think you are." Jack laughed a nervous sound. "I am just a normal guy. I work in an office. I have a cat named Boots. I am nothing special." Lyra shook her head slowly, making her glowing hair wave. "You are much more." Her black eyes seemed to look into his soul. "I need your help. My people are coming to your planet. They think humans are dangerous. They want to stop your kind. Before you become a threat. Jack was confused again. "How are humans a threat to you? You have spaceships and can kidnap people in their sleep. We can't even get past our own moon." Yet Lyra stood up and walked to the window. "Your kind has potential," she said. "Great potential. In a few hundred years you will develop abilities that took my people thousands of years to master. Some of my kind fear this. They want to stop it before it happens." "What abilities?" Jack asked. "Mind powers," Lyra said. "The ability to move things with thought, to speak without words, to see distant places with only your mind. Humans have the seed of these powers in them already. They just don't know how to use them yet." Jack tried to stand up but felt dizzy. He sat back down on the edge of the bed. "This is crazy," He said, "I don't believe you." Lyra turned to look at him. "I can prove it," she said. She held out her hand and a small object floated up from a table nearby. It moved through the air until it stopped in front of Jack. Hovering there, it was a small crystal that glowed with purple light. Jack stared at it. "Okay, so you have powers," he said, "but that doesn't prove humans do. The crystal is a memory key," Lyra explained. "It holds the truth about who you really are." Jack was about to ask what she meant when the room shook violently. Lights flashed red and a loud sound filled the air. Lyra looked worried. "They are here sooner than I expected," she said. She grabbed the crystal from the air and held it out to Jack. "Take this. Keep it safe." Jack took the crystal. It felt warm in his hand, almost like it belonged there. "What is happening?" he asked. "My sister has found us," Lyra explained. "She commands the warrior ships. She believes all humans must be destroyed. She touched something on her wrist and a door appeared in the wall. We must leave now." Jack stood up, surprised that he felt steadier now. Something about holding the crystal made him feel stronger somehow. "Where are we going?" "To my escape pod," Lyra said. "We need to reach the moon base. There are others there who will help us, others who believe humans should be protected." Jack followed her into a hallway. The walls had the same blue glow. The floor felt strange under his feet, soft but firm. The ship shook again. "Why does your sister want to destroy humans?" Jack asked as they hurried down the hallway. "Fear," Lyra said simply. "Fear of what you might become. She believes it is better to end your species now before you grow too powerful. She does not understand that your kind has goodness in them." They turned a corner and Lyra suddenly stopped. Jack almost ran into her back. He looked past her and saw 3 figures blocking their path. They looked like Lyra, but their skin was darker purple, and their eyes were red. Not black. They wore black outfits with metal parts that looked like armor. They held weapons that glowed with red light. "Sister," one of them said to Lyra, "you betray our kind for these primitives." Lyra pushed Jack behind her. "I serve our true purpose, Mira," she said to the one who had spoken. "Humans have potential for greatness. They deserve a chance." The one called Mira laughed a harsh sound. "They are dangerous animals," she said. "They will destroy themselves and then come for us." "You know the predictions." Jack felt something strange. The crystal in his hand was getting warmer. It seemed to pulse with light in time with his heartbeat. "The predictions are not certain," Lyra said firmly. "They show only one possible future. I have seen another." "Path enough," Mira raised her weapon. "Give us the human and the crystal. We know what you plan to do." "It will not work." Lyra moved faster than Jack could follow. She raised her hand and the hallway filled with blue light. The 3 aliens were pushed back against the wall. Their weapons flew from their hands. "Run," Lyra shouted at Jack. "Third door on the right. The escape pod." "Go," Jack hesitated. He didn't want to leave her alone against 3 others. "Go," Lyra said again. "I will follow." Her hands glowed with blue energy. The aliens were struggling against some invisible force holding them. Jack ran. He found the door she mentioned. It slid open as he approached. Inside was a small room with seats and controls. The walls here were clear, and he could see stars all around. Heard sounds of fighting from the hallway. Flashes of blue and red light. He wanted to go back to help Lyra, but he didn't know how. He had no weapons, no powers. The crystal in his hand pulsed brighter. It felt hot now, almost burning. He looked at it, and felt drawn to it somehow, as if it was trying to tell him something. Jack touched the crystal to his forehead. Images flooded his mind. A planet with 3 moons, a city with tall spires, a family with purple skin and white hair, a child being sent away. A war. He gasped and pulled the crystal away. His head hurt, but something felt different. He looked at his hands. They seemed normal, but he could feel something inside him. Something new, Or maybe something very old that had been sleeping. Lyra burst into the pod. Her silver outfit was torn in places. Her arm had a burn mark. She quickly touched the controls. The door closed behind her. "Are you hurt?" Jack asked. "I will heal," she said. The pod detached. "We need to get to the moon base. Fast." Jack looked out the window and saw a large ship. It was dark and shaped like a blade. The pod was moving away from it. "Fast. That is my sister's ship," Lyra explained. "She will follow us." Jack looked at the crystal in his hand. "These memories I saw," he said. "Are they?" Real Lyra nodded as she worked the controls. "Your real memories," she said. "Not the false life you think you had. But I remember my parents, my school, my life." Jack protested. "Implanted memories," Lyra said, "designed to keep you safe. To hide you." Jack shook his head. "This is too much. I can't be." "What am I then?" "You are the last of the royal bloodline," Lyra said. "The only one who can stop this war. You were hidden on Earth to protect you until you were ready." Jack looked back at the crystal. The memories he had seen felt real, but so did his memories of growing up on Earth, of his parents, of his life. How could both be true? The pod shook. Lyra looked at the controls. "They are firing on us," she said. "We need to move faster." She touched more controls. The stars outside seemed to stretch. Jack held onto his seat. The crystal pulsed in his hand. He felt something building inside him, something powerful. He closed his eyes and saw more images, a ceremony, a crown, energy flowing from hands, moving objects with thought. Opened his eyes and looked at Lyra. "I need to know more," he said. "We will reach the moon base soon." Lyra promised, "The others will help you remember everything." Jack nodded. He looked out at the stars and at the Earth growing smaller behind them. His old life seemed far away now. Whether it was real or not didn't matter anymore. Something bigger was happening. Something that would change everything, and somehow he was at the center of it all. The moon base shook again as the Krell ship fired another blast. The shields were holding, but barely. Jarex could feel them weakening with each hit. "We need to move fast," Jarex said, turning to the others. "The Krell will break through. Soon." Lyra nodded. "I will prepare the ship," she said. Mira looked skeptical. "We have only 2 vessels," she said. "My warship and Lyra's scout ship against a Krell destroyer. Those are poor odds. We are not going to fight them directly." Jarex said, "We need to get to Earth. I need to speak to their leaders, humans." Mira still sounded doubtful. "They will panic when they see us. They will attack without understanding." "Not if I go first," Jarex said. "I still look mostly human. I can speak for us." Mira shook her head. "They will not believe you. They will think you are mad." Jarex smiled. "I don't need them to believe my words," he said. "I can show them." He touched his temple. "They cannot deny what I can share directly." Lyra looked concerned. "That would expose your powers to humans before they are ready," she said. "It could change their development. We have no choice," Jarex replied. "The Krell are here now. If we do not act, Earth will fall, and after Earth, Neria. All we have rebuilt will be lost." Mira nodded, finally accepting his logic. "Where will you go on Earth?" she asked. "Washington," Jarex said. "That is where the leaders of the most powerful human nation meet. I lived in that nation as Jack. I know their ways." Another blast hit the base harder than before. Lights flickered all around them. "Hurry," Mira urged her warriors. "The base will not hold much longer." They moved quickly through the corridors to the landing bays. Jarex's mind was racing, planning what he would say to the human leaders, how he would convince them. They reached the bay where 2 ships waited. Mira's larger warship, dark and blade-shaped, and Lyra's smaller scout vessel, sleek and built for speed. "We will take both ships," Jarex decided. "Mira, you take your warriors in the warship. Stay in orbit around Earth, hidden from their sensors. Be ready if we need you and us." Lyra asked, You and I will go down in your ship, he said. We need to move carefully, not frighten them more than necessary. Mira nodded and turned to her warriors, issuing orders. They moved toward the warship with discipline and purpose. Jarex and Lyra boarded the scout ship. The interior was familiar to Jarex now, both from his restored memories and from his earlier trip with Lyra. The blue glow, the curved walls, the strange symbols that he now understood. Lyra took the controls. This ship can change its appearance, she explained as she activated systems. It can look like a human aircraft if needed. Jarex nodded, good thinking. He sat in the seat beside her, feeling both excited and afraid. He was about to reveal himself to humanity, to change their understanding of the universe forever. The bay doors opened above them. Lyra's ship rose smoothly from the floor, Mira's warship following behind them. Through the opening, Jarex could see the Krell destroyer. Its red hull bristling with weapons, energy building at its forward cannons. Go, Jarex urged. Now before they fire again, both ships shot upward out of the bay. Just as they cleared the opening, the Krell ship fired. A red beam struck the base where they had been. Moments before, the explosion was blinding. The entire base seemed to collapse inward. The moon. Jarex gasped. They hit the moon, not just the base. Lyra said grimly, They do not care about damage to your system. They want us all dead. The two Narian ships accelerated away from the moon, heading for Earth. The Krell destroyer turned ponderously to follow them, its engines flaring red against the blackness of space. It is slow, but powerful. Mira said, her voice coming through the communication system dial. Cannot outrun it forever. We don't need forever, Jarex replied. Just enough time to reach Earth. The blue planet grew larger in the viewports. Clouds swirled across its surface, oceans and continents becoming clearer as they approached. Home, Jarex thought. Both as Jack and as Prince Jarex, he felt connected to this world. The human part of him longed for its familiar places and people. The Narian part of him saw its beauty and potential. The Krell ship fired again. The beam passed between the two Narian vessels, missing both. They are still out of range, Lyra said. But not for long, Mira. We need to split up, Jarex said over the communication system. You draw them away while we go to Earth. Understood. Mira's ship broke off, changing course, heading away from Earth. The Krell destroyer followed as Jarex had hoped. They clearly wanted the Narian royals more than they wanted Earth for now. Go, Lyra, Jarex said. Head for the human capital. Lyra's ship dove toward Earth. Its hull began to glow as they entered the atmosphere. The ship changed shape, its appearance shifting to resemble a human aircraft, a sleek jet that would not cause immediate panic. They passed through clouds. The land below came into focus, green and brown with lines of roads and the shapes of cities. Jarex recognized the east coast of the United States where he had lived as Jack. There, Jarex pointed the large city with the white buildings. Washington, D.C. Lyra confirmed. She adjusted their course. The ship slowed as they descended. Sensors show human aircraft approaching. Lyra said, They have detected us. Let them come close enough to see us, Jarex said, but not to attack. We need to appear peaceful. The ship descended toward the center of the city, toward a large white building with a dome. The human aircraft fighters were circling them now. Jarex could see them through the viewports, their weapons ready. Lyra looked at him. What now, she asked. Now we give them a show, Jarex said. He closed his eyes and reached out with his mind, searching for the humans in the aircraft. He touched their thoughts carefully, not to control but to communicate. I come in peace, he sent to them. I need to speak with your leaders. It is urgent. He felt their shock, their disbelief, but also their curiosity. He showed them images of the Krell ship, of the danger it posed. He felt some of them break off, heading back to their bases to report what they had experienced. Lyra brought the ship down in an open space near the white building. The area was quickly surrounded by human security forces, vehicles, and armed soldiers. They kept their distance, uncertain what to do. I will go out first, Jarex said. He stood and moved to the door. Lyra caught his arm. Be careful, she said. Many humans fear what they do not understand. I know, Jarex replied. I was one of them once. The door opened. A ramp extended to the ground. Jarex walked down slowly, his hands raised to show he carried no weapons. His skin still looked mostly human, but with the slight purple tint. His eyes had changed too now, with flecks of purple in them. The humans stared, weapons raised, voices shouting orders. Some backed away in fear. Others stood their ground with determination. Jarex stopped at the bottom of the ramp. He raised his voice so all could hear. My name is Jarex, he called out. I lived among you as one of you for many years. I come with an urgent warning. Your world is in danger. A human in a dark suit stepped forward cautiously. Who are you? He demanded. What are you? Jarex looked at the man. I am both human and not human. He said, I was born on a world called Naria. I was sent here as a child for protection. I grew up here, lived here as one of you. He paused. I can prove what I say. How? The man asked. Jarex raised his hand slowly. It began to glow with purple light. Some of the humans gasped. Others raised their weapons higher. I mean no harm, Jarex said quickly, but there is no time for lengthy explanations. He pointed to the sky. Something is coming, something that threatens all life on Earth. As if on cue, the sky darkened. A shadow passed over the sun. Human instruments would be detecting it now. A massive object entering orbit. An object that should not be there. The Krell ship. Jarex said, They have followed us here. They want your world. They will take it by force if we do not stop them. The man in the suit spoke into a device at his wrist. His face pale. Jarex could sense his fear, but also his determination to protect his people. I need to speak to your leaders. Jarex said, all of them together. This concerns every nation, every person on Earth. More humans were arriving, some in military uniforms, others in suits. Jarex could sense their confusion, their fear, their disbelief, but he could also sense their courage. One woman stepped forward. Her suit was different, her bearing confident. She had an air of authority. Who exactly are you? She asked. And what do you want from us? Jarex bowed slightly, sensing this was someone important. I am Prince Jarex of Naria, he said, and I need your help to save both our worlds. The woman looked skeptical. Why should we believe you? She asked. Why should we help you? Jarex held out his hand. May I show you? He asked. The woman hesitated, then nodded. Though she did not take his hand, Jarex closed his eyes again. He reached out with his mind. He touched hers gently, with images, not words. He showed her the truth. The Krell ships, the war on Naria, his life as Jack, his awakening, the moon base, the coming threat. The woman gasped and stepped back, her eyes wide. It's true, she whispered. Jarex nodded. We do not have much time, he said. The Krell are ancient enemies of my people. They conquer worlds, strip them of resources, enslave populations. They will show no mercy. What can we do? The woman asked. Our weapons, our technology, are not enough against them alone. Jarex agreed. But together with my people we might have a chance. He gestured to Lyra, who now stood at the top of the ramp. We have knowledge and technology. You do not. We can help you prepare, and what do you want in return? The man in the suit asked, suspicion in his voice. A home, Jarex said simply. My world was nearly destroyed. My people scattered. We seek refuge, a place to rebuild, to live in peace. And in return, we offer our knowledge, our protection, our friendship. The woman and man exchanged looks, then the woman spoke. Get me the president, she said to an aide, and the Joint Chiefs and the UN Secretary.